This is Kaleb Stewart, the Arts and Entertainment Editor for the Daily Titan, and I'm going to be talking about the movie Before the Flood. Before the Flood is a Leonardo DiCaprio produced documentary about climate change. What it reminds me most of is the Al Gore documentary from about a decade ago, An Inconvenient Truth. However, the difference between the two is that while Al Gore is a very authoritative figure in the way that he speaks, Leonardo DiCaprio within this documentary is very much presented as an everyman, despite the fact that he's an actor and he obviously has led a far more privileged life than most. His outlook on global warming is very much from the perspective of not an expert, but someone who wants to understand the issue more. While with An Inconvenient Truth, when you're going into it, Al Gore is pretty much an expert on the subject and he is educating you about it, as opposed to with Before the Flood, where you feel as though you're going alongside with Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, one of the things that's very important to analyze with this film is the fact that its message is very clear, but a lot of the filmmaking itself from a documentary perspective is very manipulative. There's a lot of fast editing between very strong, striking images like overpopulated cities and plumes of gas rising up into the air. And while all of this is the typical sort of thing that you would see for a persuasive argument, especially within a film, part of the problem that I personally have with it, and it's not a fault of the film itself, is that it assumes that the person watching it doesn't know a whole lot about climate change. As someone who knows a fair bit about the subject, I didn't feel like I was getting any kind of new information from this film. But when we're looking at the overall population and the discussion of the issue, I feel like it's a very important watch. So in a way, I'm torn between thinking about, okay, how much did I enjoy the film, which I didn't personally care for it too much, and how much good is it going to do? And the thing is, I think it can do a whole lot of good, and I feel like Leonardo DiCaprio being the head of this project is really going to captivate people to watch it in a way that maybe An Inconvenient Truth couldn't do. It's done in a way that's visually appealing. It's going to have a mass audience appeal. And so for that, even though the editing is manipulative and having Leonardo DiCaprio as the star of this particular piece feels a little bit hackneyed at times, the message is so important that those discrepancies feel forgivable. And for that, I would say it's worth a watch. And the film is well worth a watch too, because it's free on YouTube. You can literally log on to the National Geographic site and watch it for yourself. This is Kaleb Stewart from the Daily Titan, and I am signing off.